You've probably been hearing a ton about this thing called tariffs and that we are facing a trade war. So what exactly is a tariff and how does it impact you and your wallet? Is it the best way to grow the economy and is it worth it? I'll go over all these things in this episode of Invest Diva TV, the place to be to make your money work for you. Hi, it's Invest Diva and your investment coach, Kiana, and today we're going to discuss how tariffs can hit your wallet. But before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to my channel by clicking on the subscribe button to get my Invest Diva updates as soon as we publish them. Now let's get to global trade, something that is more prevalent today than it has been ever before. Modern technology allows companies to communicate instantly with trading partners around the world, and international goods flow into the US at an incredible rate. Free trade is usually considered to be a good thing for global economies, but sometimes excessive importing can cause a lot of harm to domestic businesses. To help these businesses compete against cheaper foreign suppliers, countries need to find a way to get consumers to buy more domestic products. A country that imports more goods than it exports has something called a trade deficit. While many countries carry a trade deficit without any issues, it could be problematic if it becomes too extreme. Now, one way to address a trade deficit is by placing a tax on imported goods. This is known as a tariff. When tariffs are in place, a company or a person who wants to import products has to pay the tariff to get the products through customs. This extra cost gives the purchaser a reason to buy the domestic products, right? Now, tariffs can be placed on all imports or they can be placed on imports from a specific country. But tariffs don't just impact companies, they affect you too. Increased import costs often just go down, straight down to the consumer level, so they could end up costing you that money. Here are 3 ways that import tariffs can impact your wallet. Tariff impact number 1 is higher prices. Companies that import stuff often have important supply chain assets in other countries. They can't just switch to a domestic supplier. They have factories, offices, and other costly resources that are locked in place. You can't just throw out and replace these resources. It's impossibly expensive. So these companies are forced to pay the tariffs and continue importing their goods. The cost of paying tariffs on top of a company's regular operating expenses causes an increase in the costs. But these companies gotta eat somehow, so what do? They simply pass the cost on to the customers by raising the prices of their products. That is how you end up paying more for your favorite products because the manufacturer is paying more to produce them. In extreme cases, an overall increase in cost can even have an effect on the value of the money, like the US dollar. Wide-scale price increase can accelerate inflation, decreasing the value of the cash that you're holding, right? Now let's get to tariff impact number 2. That is economic damage. The state of the economy has an impact on almost everyone in the country. When businesses do well, we all tend to do better. Tariffs take money out of the private sector and put it into the government's pocket. Instead of being used to make investments to buy products, the money goes into the treasury and disappears into the federal government's massive balance sheet. Now, despite popular perception, tariffs don't cost importers anything directly. Domestic companies are responsible for paying the tariffs on the goods that they import. Tariffs hurt importers because they lower the demand for their goods, but domestic companies are the ones footing the initial bill. Limiting trade and raising costs for domestic companies makes the companies slow down and reduce the number of the goods they're producing overall. And some companies even downsize to limit the damage of the increased costs. Other companies, they postpone their big investments until the tariffs are lifted, or they get rid of the projects altogether. Now, how does this impact your wallet? When the economy is doing bad, it can impact your bank account in several ways. Depending on where you work, corporate downsizing can cost you your job. If you run your own business, you may find yourself lowering your rates to keep up with the demand. Some of your clients might reduce their orders or drop off entirely. So it's in everybody's best interest to keep the economy strong. And tariffs can be extremely harmful to the economies of both the importers and the exporters if they are not deployed strategically. This brings us to tariff impact number 3, the markets. Large-scale tariffs can have a devastating impact on the investment markets, and just because you're not trading stocks doesn't mean that markets won't impact your wallet. If you're enrolled in a 401k or a pension plan at work, you've got skin in the game. Tariff headlines have been the biggest movers of the U.S. stock market for the past year, and the resultant uncertainty has dragged down the markets. The decline isn't universal, though. Many companies aren't directly impacted by the tariffs because of the way that the businesses work, but the overall market definitely feels the pain of the increased costs. Now, unless you're trading individual stocks, your retirement account has significant exposure to the overall market. So tariffs are probably going to impact your savings. Even if tariffs have zero impact on a company's operation, its stock can still be dragged down by the direction of the overall market and that downtrend wave. Now, I'm not trying to make you panic. I'm just trying to give you information. These impacts can be short-term, and in the long run, you should be okay. Panic selling is never a good investment strategy. In fact, when the markets are down, it can be an excellent buying opportunity. Now, if you're closer to retirement and you're worried about the impact of tariffs on your portfolio, make sure you check out my Make Your Money Work For You masterclass to determine the best strategy for your unique circumstances. Tariffs don't just affect the suits on the Wall Street. They can cost everyday investors like you and I a lot of money when they cause the market take the dive. That's why you need to study your investments and be aware of the impact tariffs can have on the companies and your holdings. I've been analyzing the markets throughout the headlines and share my strategies with our premium investment group members in the PIG area of investdiva.com. So make sure you check that out. In conclusion, whether or not tariffs are an effective way of managing a nation's trade deficit, that is still up for debate, but we know for sure that tariffs can end up costing us more money. Now, whether or not the extra costs are for the greater good of the country, that is unclear, but for now, just be aware of the tariff policies and how it affects you on a day-to-day basis. And it will help you manage your investments and make better financial decisions and stay more informed about the direction of the economy. Now I'd like to hear from you. Do tariffs directly impact you or your business? Once you've subscribed to my YouTube channel and followed me on social media, head over to the comment section and let me know. Also, don't forget to reserve your spot on my upcoming masterclass to learn all about making your money work for you. You can find the link on investdiva.com. Thank you so much for watching Invest Diva, and remember, make your money work for you.